Well, a year and a half into his new job, I sat down with Columbus Police Chief Joseph Daughtry to get his thoughts on where CPD is and where he wants it to go. Columbus Police Chief Joseph Daughtry has been in charge of CPD for just under a year and a half. During that time, crime in the city has dropped.
Columbus, prior to me getting here, had almost 12 homicides that year. Last year, my first complete year, we cut that in half. We had 5. You know, our violent crimes are down.
Daughtry understands on the surface it is hard to believe, especially since the city just saw its first 2 murders of the year a month apart from each other. The victims in their mid to early 20s. Daughtry, who brings over 25 years of experience working in cities like New Orleans and Jackson, knows in order to stop Columbus from going down a dangerous path, it has to start by listening to those who statistically commit the most violent crimes.
We always go talk to kids and tell them, well, you don't need to do drugs, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do this, but nobody's listening to them. Don't carry guns. What happened to asking them, young man, why are you carrying a gun? You know, to actually hear, well, I'm scared. You know, my friend got shot, or my cousin got shot, or I'm scared, I'm gonna get shot.
According to Urban Institute, adults between the ages of 18 and 24 were the most likely to be arrested for violent crimes. That's why Daughtry says his officers are not only patrolling and listening, they're putting boots on the ground and planting them in communities.
This year we're getting into the schools. Well, I'm partnering with the football coach, and we're going to be talking to the kids. I got some guys in my department who are coaching Little League basketball, Little League football. I do have an officer that has a mentoring program. He goes around and he does back-to-school drives. He does Coke giveaways. You know, so we're buying in, but we are starting to focus on our children.
And that may include confronting parents who he says may be culpable in enabling their children's criminal behavior, even though he admits sometimes it can be a conflicting task.
Well, you have a parent tell you, well, I'm on a fixed income. He's giving me $1,000 a week to pay the bill so I can feed the rest of my children. You know, it kind of hits home. But then you got some parents out here who just want to uphold their children's wrong.
He says despite this fact, his job is making everyone in the city of Columbus feel safe, even if that means prosecuting parents.
If we find out and we can prove that the parent is either hiding the guns or burning evidence that we're looking for, we're going to charge the parents with accessory after the fact.
He says for those who make a mistake and commit a crime, instead of putting your family in a position to get locked up for accessory while they believe they're just protecting their child, it is best to just turn yourself in.
When you come to the Columbus Police Department, you're not going to be mistreated. You know, if you made a mistake, if you committed a crime and you come turn yourself in, we want it that way. We want it peaceful. But we are coming to look for you. The days of just putting that paper on the desk and hopefully one day we get you in a traffic stop is over. You hurt somebody in Columbus, you could best believe we're coming looking for you.
Daughtry says when he initially arrived in Columbus, he sat down with city leaders and those inside CPD for a 90-day assessment. Not everyone was on board with some of the changes he wanted to implement.
When I first got here, I bumped heads with some individuals because I guess they feel because their granddaddy fried the first piece of chicken in Columbus, they were entitled to certain things. And what I wanted people to understand is I don't chief or police based on economic status or social status. I chief of police for safety of everybody.
He says thanks to those who saw his vision and want to see the city move forward, his department is now getting what it needs to go after and find criminals quicker. Since assuming command of the police department, the city has approved higher starting pay, along with giving the chief the go-ahead to modernize uniforms, weapons, and equipment. They've added a SWAT team and Operation T-Bone, taking back our neighborhoods, which has increased visibility in high-crime areas. Daughtry says this will increase productivity, visibility, morale, and time management. Studies show 70 to 80% of squad cars in the U.S. have computers inside. They offer quick access to information, writing reports, and communicating with dispatch. They are vital tools in modern-day law enforcement. Daughtry says he isn't sure why they were taken out of CPD patrolled cars, but new updated computers are now going in.
I don't want you leaving East Columbus, coming all the way back to the PD to do a report. You can park somewhere in a school zone. You can park in a business that might have been having problems, or in a high crime area, park right in the neighborhood and do your report right there.
At one point in CPD's history, there were more than 100 police officers. Chief Daughtry says before he got there, that number had dwindled down to 27. After 8 new officers were sworn in last week, the number now stands at 44. He wants to be at 55 by the end of the year, but his overall goal is to get to 75. But even with the numbers they have, his officers remain visible because it's the culture he is working to establish.
When they come up for their briefing that morning and they're sitting around and they're a little upset because maybe they had plans with their wife or their girlfriend or with their kids, and they know they have to work, and then all of a sudden the chief come in, the assistant chief come in, and captains come in, and we're in uniform too. And from the time we start to the time we leave, we're there with you. It makes an impact.
Changes have also been about educating his officers on everything from budgeting, community policing, a new report writing system, even how to order new vehicles.
We're talking to business owners on how they can be safe. In the very near future, we're going to have a business safety summit where we're going to invite all the business owners to the PD, and we're going to talk about some things that we're bringing to the city that can help them to keep their business safe.
He says at the end of the day, he and his officers want the city of Columbus to feel like the friendly city.
I want this senior to be peaceful, have a peaceful night. I want these kids to be able to stay at home and do their homework or go outside and play without foolishness.
NCPD is currently budgeted for 55 officers. Daughtry believes that they can reach that number by the end of the year.